Welcome back everybody to another comic video. In this video we're gonna go look at the Falcon and Winter Soldier comic specs, keys, stuff like that, post-mortem, because now this is about a week after the show ended, and we're gonna take a look at the numbers, what the values were before the show and the values after the show was released. And so we'll see if, what kind of changes there are in the market. These are going to be sourced from Cover Price and as well as Go Collect and eBay. So these are just kind of like my own little numbers that I've calculated, and then I'll give my opinions on whether or not we should hold, sell, buy said books. So I have about 12 books here, and some of them are behind me, you could see, and we'll go one by one, pretty quick. You'll see the charts and the stats, and we can do a quick analysis afterwards. All right, real quick before we get started, the parameters are going to be pre-show and post-show release. So from February until March 18th is the pre-show, and then March 19th up until about April 26th, 25th for post-release. Okay, so the first book we're going to look at is Captain America issue 117. This is the first appearance of the Falcon. As you all know, it's a Silver Age book. And then we're going to look at the raw numbers and the CGC numbers here. So the raw numbers before the show came out, it was roughly about $298. And the CGC 8.0 was going for about $765. And then post-show, the raw numbers were $585. And the CGC 8.0 is up to $1,599. That's a jump of 96.31% for the raw grade and 109% for the CGC grade. That's really, really high, and obviously this was going to be something we were going to see jump really high, obviously, because it is the titular character. Is that how you say it? Okay, the second book we're looking at is Captain America number 6, the first appearance of Winter Soldier. The raw numbers for the pre-show were $144, and the CGC 9.8 was $596 on average. After the show was released and ended, the raw averages are $193, and the CGC 9.8 is $803. Those are both increase of 34.03% and 34.73% respectively. And because this is a modern book, it's not going to be going as high as the older books just because there's more of it. And there will be a premium in getting 9.8s if you're going to get graded. Okay, the third book is another first appearance. Is Captain America number 323, the first appearance of John Walker. The raw sales before the show started was $58, and then the CGC 9.8 was $500. After the show came out, it has jumped to $76 for raw sales, and then $874 for a CGC 9.8. As you can see, it's a 31% increase for raw sales, and the CGC has gone up a pretty big percentage, 74.8%, about 75%. This is an older book, but not quite as old because it's a Copper Age book, and this was probably not dollar bin, but pretty close to it, leading up to the show. And there was definitely movement as soon as they cast the character and the show came out. And this one I think has a lot of room for growth. The CGC 9.8s, there aren't that many out there right now because not many people were getting these graded before the show started, much less getting 9.8s. So now the people who do have these pristine copies are getting them graded, and when they come back, expect to see a huge uptick, especially if we see John Walker in future movies. Okay, the next couple of books here are first appearance of Baron Zemo. There are two. It's kind of weird here because issue 168 is the first appearance of the character, and issue 275 is the first appearance of him in costume. And before the show came out, you could see They were $26 and $30 respectively. And then there were no CGC sales because no one was really, looking for these to get in graded because, I guess it's Baron Zemo. But once the show came out, it ended. The raw numbers jumped to $66 for 168 and $37 for 275. And then there's a CGC graded now. For the 168 is a 9.4 at $600, and then 275 has a 9.6 at $225. Right now it looks like 168 is the leading candidate for like the book to get for Baron Zemo, because you can see the raw sales have increased by 153.85%, while the 9.4 and then while the 275 has only increased 23.33%, but the 9.4 graded for the CGC has a price tag of $600, whereas the 9.6 of the 275 only is at $225. But that's also because the 168 is a Bronze Age book and the 275 is a Copper Age book. So there is going to be that disparity there, difference because of the age of the book. Okay, and then we have Captain America issue 312, which is another first appearance issue. And this time it's the Flag Smasher, not the group, but the character, Carl Morgenthau, which obviously they changed to Carly Morgenthau, and they changed the Flag Smasher into the Flag Smashers, which is a group, a terrorist group kind of. So before the show came out, they had the raw sales were going about $23, and then a CGC 9.4 was $200. And then after the show, the raw numbers have gone up to $26, while the CGC 9.4 has actually dropped down to $135.50. The increase on the raw sales is only 13%, while the CGC has dropped 32.25%. That's a pretty big drop for a quote unquote key issue. But then again, it is kind of not the same thing because one's a group, one is a character. And, for those who haven't seen it yet, the bad stuff happens at the end to the Flag Smashers. So I see this basically falling off the list here as something to look out for and whatnot. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so the next one is another first appearance, and this is Machine Man number 7, which is the first appearance of the Power Broker. The numbers you can see here is $5 for raw sales for $5 on average before the show came out, and then it jumped to $32 after the show came out. That's a big jump of 540%, but it sounds big, but it's not really that big because it goes from 5 to 32. So the actual number dollar-wise doesn't jump that much. It's just everybody got excited with the Power Broker coming in, and then the CGC 9.8. They didn't have any graded until the show came out, and then they had one, and it sold for $1,288, which is, I think, an overpay. Granted, it's probably the only 9.8 that was even online, even for sale, and everybody just got excited. Whoever the people were that were bidding on this, they just decided, I got to get this, and then the big price tag. I think this is another book that might fall off. Depends if they do something with the Power Broker. I don't want to spoil really too much of who it is if you haven't seen it yet, but I don't really see this being that big as well. Okay, continuing our first issue theme here, we have Truth, Red, White, and Black, issue number 1, which is the first appearance of Isaiah Bradley, who is also the Captain America from, during the similar time as Steve Rogers, maybe a little bit later, but it's just kind of a forgotten character in their history until it was uncovered, later on. And you can see here, before the show came out, it was already gaining some steam just because the speculation was high. You can see it was $55 where was the average raw sales, and then CGC 9.8 was about $243. And then when the show came out, and then after, subsequently ended, it's at $53, and then $579 for a CGC 9.8. The raw numbers dropped 3.63%, while the CGC increased 138%. That's actually, I think it's a little overpay for this the 9.8 right now, because unless they do flashbacks with Isaiah Bradley, or they do kind of like a Peggy Carter type of show where they're going to show the exploits of his mission back in the day, I feel this is going to kind of go by the wayside, and it's going to only be used to, or Isaiah Bradley's only going to be used to push Elijah Bradley into the role of Patriot. Other than that, I really don't see this holding that value, but I could be wrong if they have other projects with him in the future. Okay, now the big one that was a big late in the season surprise, and this got some really big swings, if you could say. Strange Tales number 159, which is the first appearance of Contessa Valentina de Allegra de Fontaine. This is a Silver Age book, so that in itself, it's already hard to get. The numbers before the show, raw sales were about $25, and then the CGC 9.6 was $565. And then after the show came out, or the episode actually came out, the raw numbers went up to $142, and the CGC 9.6 jumped all the way up to $4,560. These are some massive jumps. 468% for raw sales increase, and 707% for the CGC 9.6. I don't know if the 4,500 is going to stick, but it's definitely going to be significantly more than the 565 it was before the show came out. This is a silver book, so getting a 9.6 is hard, so maybe it'll be somewhere close, but for sure we're not going to have those numbers before the show came out. That's I don't think you can get this book for under $100 at this point raw, and it might even be more if and when they do another project with Contessa Valentina, because she is going to be a long-term character that's going to be recurring in shows and movies and whatnot. Kind of like people's always said, they've been saying the female Nick Fury. So this definitely has a lot of upside, but you'll be hard pressed to get them at the numbers before the show came out. Okay, and then the last three books are going to be first appearances as well, but they're kind of like newer ones, because this is what's going to be going forward. The first one is Captain America number 354, which is the first appearance of U.S. Agent. So John Walker as U.S. Agent. The numbers before the show, $32 for a raw, and $32 for a raw, and then $510 for a 9.6 CGC graded. And then after the show came out, $58 for raw, and then $875 for a 9.6. Those are great jumps. The raw went up 81.25%, whereas the CGC went up 71.57%. It's a copper book, so if you've been watching some of the videos, I really like the copper and bronze stuff, and I think this is going to be something that's going to go up even more. I definitely see 9.8s of this book being over $1,000, because U.S. Agent will be persisting throughout the movies, and it might even be in Thunderbolts, who knows, Dark Avengers, I don't know, but it's probably going to be in Cap 4, and you can see that they're really setting up U.S. Agent to do something in the MCU. So the numbers are good. I think once we get more 9.8s, we'll get a better 9.8s coming back from CGC. Then we'll see a better picture of what's going to go for. But I think it's going to be $1,000 easy, if not more. Okay, and the next one is Sam Wilson, Captain America issue 3, which is the first appearance of Joaquin Torres, who later becomes the Falcon. This is just a spec book, but you can see they're setting it up because, if you watch the show, he keeps the broken wings and he's probably going to fix it. But the numbers before the show came out were $38, and then there were no CGCs because no one's really looking at this. And then after the show, $38. So there was no change because we haven't seen any news, anything extra with this guy. But I think this is a book to pick up now where you can get it fairly cheap. And there are no CGC graded stuff. So if you do have them in high grade and you get them graded, you could be one of the first ones in the market, and you can probably demand a premium because there's just not that many on the census to begin with. So this is something to look forward to, look into future, because Joaquin Torres will be a character that will come back at some point for sure. Who knows? He could be the new sidekick. Okay, so the last book is a fairly obvious one. It's Captain America issue 25, which is obviously the first appearance of Falcon, or Sam, as Captain America. So Falcon Cap, we'll just call him. Obviously, this is a modern book, so there's going to be a lot of these. There's going to be a lot of high-grade stuff. But just looking at the numbers, before the show came out, it was $25. And I think at that point, it was already starting to increase because the specs were there. Once they announced the show, they just everybody assumed that he was going to be Captain America by the end of the show. And then the CGC 9.8 was $309. And then after the show, $67 for a Raw and $471 for a CGC 9.8. Actually, that $471 is kind of low because it's actually gone up more. This is going to be over $500, $600 consistently. As you can see here, the numbers for the Raw has increased 168%. So I don't think you could get this for under $40, $50 at this point, Raw. And it could be even more if you identify those near mint 9.8, near mint plus 9.6s that you can turn into CGC. And the CGC increase has gone up 52.43%. Like I said, it's going to be even more because this is our Captain America going into the future projects for the MCU. He's going to be in Cap 4. This is something that's probably going to be almost $1,000 by the time it's over. But this is a great one to get now, even though it's high. But we have time. Maybe wait a couple months when everybody's on like Black Widow and Loki and stuff like that. Then you could kind of snake in and get that CGC graded, maybe at $400 or $500 before it jumps to like $800-900 when they come out with the new Cap project. Okay, so we went through those 12 books, and now I'm just gonna kind of quickly go over what I think we should be doing with these books going forward. Of course, this is just my opinion. You do what you want, obviously, but the number one hold obviously is, if you already have the first appearance of Falcon, Captain America 117, you gotta hold that. That is going to be a blue chip first appearance. It's already starting to go way up. Mid-grade, low-grade. At some point, it's probably going to be close to the numbers of Werewolf, Moon Knight, and Blade, maybe, if this Cap really, is ingrained in the MCU and in popular culture. So I would hold if you have it, buy if you don't. Cap 6, which is the first appearance of Winter Soldier, I would hold. You could probably buy these now because I think the numbers have gone down a little bit on these, but if you have them, definitely hold, because we don't know what they're going to do with Bucky going forward, but I think he's still going to be around, clearly. And who knows, what if he goes back to Wakanda and he's in the Wakanda show, and he could still be in Cap 4. Who knows? Avengers. So this is something to hold. I believe that it's not going to go up as much as the 117 first Prince of Falcon, clearly, because one's modern, one's silver, but also it's because there is no Bucky movie. It's a Captain America movie, Captain America show. So then the next one is Captain America 323, the first appearance with John Walker. Definitely would hold this if I have it already. I'll buy it if I don't, or if you don't. But we do need to get more CGCs to come back graded at the high grade to see just where this is at, because there are so few out there, and there's barely any 9.8s. But I believe this would be a good one. This is, it's a first appearance of the character. However, if the 354, I think 354 is the big one here. So we'll just go into that right away. 354, hold if you have it, buy if you don't. And if you could try to get as high grade as you can, send them into the CGC. There's not that many on the census. 9.6, 9.8s, that's kind of what the market needs. Once we see US Agent in action with the new project that he's going to be in, maybe in the new movie, this is definitely going to go up. So if you had a choice between 354 and 323, I would go with 354, because 323 was something that everybody was looking for early, but 354 was kind of on by the wayside, because even though we knew that he turns into US Agent, you just weren't sure. But of course, I think most people did figure that he would be US Agent by the end of the show, because Sam had to be Cap. So this is one I would definitely try to get it graded, and hopefully you get those 9.8s. Okay, then the next two is the 168 and 275, the first appearance of Baron Zemo. These I would definitely keep, because Baron Zemo has become a very popular character in the MCU. He's going to be around. You can see he's in the raft. He's probably going to be on Thunderbolts. And if you can get these at the high grade, definitely keep them. Now, here's the thing. If you have both, I would keep both until we see a clear-cut winner of which is the issue that people want to get. Right now, it's probably going to be 168 because it's older and it's the first appearance of Baron Zemo. But we don't know, because we need more information with the CGCs and whatnot to see which ones are really selling. But as of right now, it's 168. Whichever one wins, I would sell the other. Okay, and then the next two, Captain America 312, which is first appearance of Flag Smasher, and Machine Man number 7, the first appearance of Power Broker. For me, I would sell those because Flag Smasher, that's done. Power Broker, it's not what we thought. So I would sell those, and you can see the numbers have been trending downward on those. But who knows? Maybe Power Broker is there's someone else out there, and because Sharon Carter is a Skrull or something, I don't know. But those two I would be gone. And then the third one in this is the Truth, Red, White, and Black. I'm on the side of selling, but I would hold until we see what they do with either Elijah Bradley or what they do with Isaiah. Maybe they do some kind of flashback scene, or he's in another project. But I would err on the side of selling, because it is pretty high right now, and you could probably cash in on that right before it dips, in my opinion. And then Strange Tales number 159, I would hold, and I would buy it if I don't have it, because we're gonna see Contessa in many years down the line, I guess. And I would actually buy it raw. I would not buy it graded, because there aren't that much graded right now. So everybody's kind of getting all the stuff raw and then turning them in and getting them graded. So you can actually get them a little bit cheaper, because the CGC graded stuff is going for a premium, because there's just not that many out there. So try to get a mid-grade raw, and then clean press, send that in. Hopefully it comes back pretty good grade, and you'll reap the rewards later on. And then Sam Wilson, Captain America number 3, which is the first appearance of Joaquin Torres. I would hold this, and I would buy, because this is for future down the line spec. This is like years down the line, maybe a couple years. We'll see what they do with him, but it is low enough for you to be able to get it at a high grade, because it is a modern book. And then you can get those graded, send them to CGC, get that 9.6, 9.8, because there just aren't any out there in the market. So you could be the first one to get a premium, because you're the only one who has them. Okay, and then the last one, I think, is obviously, it's you hold Captain America number 25, first appearance of Sam as Captain America. But I would only buy, if I were to buy, I would only buy 9.8. Or if you know 100%, if you buy a raw copy, you know that you can turn that into 9.8, because the 9.8 should be easy, should be fairly easy to get, and this will keep climbing the closer it gets to Cap 4 and we see more of him. And you know, maybe by then you might want to sell it, because there might be thousands now of 9.8 graded ones, you know, because everybody's just kind of turning them in now. And you could see, if you look right now, there's just so many 9.8s being flooded on eBay, but the prices keep going up. So you might be able to benefit from that later on as it gets closer to Cap 4, and then even more comes in the market. You might be able to sell it, and then, you know, you kind of maximize your profits. But then again, the demand might be really high, and it could go up even more. So either way, try to get a 9.8 on this. Okay, so that's basically it. You know, I know I was a little bit choppy, and there's the first time doing something like this, but those are my opinions on all the Cap spec books, the key issues from the show, and hopefully I could get better and do more for the Loki one, and then the Black Widow. You know, we'll just keep going, but it's a good start for the MCU with WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, and you can see now that these shows are really going to affect the market very, very, like it's going to be a very, very big impact when whatever happens on these shows, because you can see the numbers just start jumping, spiking, and sometimes they tank if something didn't turn out, you know, like Mephisto. But yeah, that's it. So until next time, guys, see ya.